This is Galaxy 80, and you're listening to Two Poor Bastards.
Two Poor Bastards contains explicit content and drunken ramblings. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to Two Poor Bastards, where two friends get drunk, talk whiskey, and their favorite pop culture obsessions. This is Eric.
And this is Kyle.
All right, welcome to another episode of Two Poor Bastards.
Welcome to another episode.
So this episode, we're going to be bringing you the Nick Vivid interview we did, was it 2 weeks ago at this point? Week ago? I don't know.
A week ago.
I don't know, dude. I've been in a time warp.
A week and 2 days.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So that will be coming up, and then we're going to just do a scattershot of stuff, and then we're going to play some music for the Night Ride broadcast, so that will be coming up. So this week, we are drinking our regrets.
At least I'm not that thirsty. It's too much to drink.
Okay, we're drinking Buffalo Trace. Nothing special. It's just good old-fashioned Buffalo Trace, the standard go-to, whatever you want to drink, and it's good.
I feel like we're just drinking this a lot lately. We aren't doing anything new. We're just putting alcohol in us and having a little bit of this.
Yeah. Well, getting whiskeyed up it's how you get loose. The juice gets you loose. So there's a lot of shit going on. We haven't really done a traditional episode in a while. And this isn't really necessarily going to be a traditional episode because we're going to obviously break it up with the Nick Vivid interview. But there's a lot of shit happening outside of the world of synthwave lately and things we could talk about. But before we get to that, please social media us. Please. Bother Kyle on Instagram.
Social media me hard.
Yeah. He gets really excited about it.
Or don't.
Because
what'll end up happening is that people will, and I won't check it for like 2 days.
That's fair.
And then I'll have a bunch of messages and then forget to reply to them.
People get mad. So in this time, the new Gost record came out, and I know that you and I haven't really had a chance to really digest it fully. I listened to it once through. What is your initial impression?
Well, I did a little digital listening. I haven't gotten the vinyl yet, which I don't know why I was slacking on that. Usually I have stuff on pre-order.
Really
maybe I do have it on pre-order, and I didn't realize that. And
you would have it already. It's out.
Things happen.
So did you listen to like some songs, or did you
I've listened to some stuff that was put out. I haven't listened to the album in entirety yet, but
how many songs? You like 3 or 4?
Like 4, something like that.
Okay.
And it's like not enough to even tell you what the song titles are.
Gotcha. I honestly don't know all the song titles, but I can tell you I listened to it all the way through one sitting, and my impression is it's different than his other stuff, but it makes sense in the progression if you've listened to his stuff from the beginning. To me, it doesn't seem like it's too far out of step with where he's been going. But it's definitely like much more eclectic. Like there's some like Depeche Mode kind of feeling stuff on there. There's some death metal stuff. Well, not death metal, but like black metalish kind of stuff. There's definitely like the dark wave kind of thing going on. And it seems to really wrap all of his interests all in one package. And like there are more specific songs that are coherent. Like it's just like a dark wave thing or a metal thing. And we saw that in a Possessor where he had some like straight up metal songs on there.
Well, I was thinking to myself the other day, I was just like, when each of Ghost new albums came out, like when they dropped, I wasn't too excited about them initially because they're so different than previous releases. But then I always end up, coming around and being like, oh, well, I really like this one now, and now this is my new favorite one.
Yeah.
And from the little bit that I have heard of the newest album, not as into it as the other stuff, but things may come around. There might be something on the album that I haven't heard yet that I will really like. I'm not sure, but yes, it's it's changing, it's evolving.
Yeah.
It's becoming his own thing. I mean, people in the synthwave groups have been saying that Ghost isn't synthwave for quite some time now,
right.
So I'm sure they would say it again.
Yeah, with this particular thing, I feel like you could still put him in dark wave, but he's his own thing. Ghost is Ghost, and he shows.
It's synthwave. I will say that it's still synthwave.
Okay, sure. I mean, I won't fight it. He's showing what he's showing is more range and ability and talent than just sticking. Like there's certain groups that you listen to where like every single song sounds exactly the same.
Didn't in an interview that he just do call out the Midnight for having too much saxophone in it and that becoming like the thing, and it was just too much of that.
I didn't read that.
I think it was him.
So,
or it was someone. Someone called out the Midnight for having the saxophone sound and that being the
like
sound.
Too much fucking cowbell. Jesus. I hope it was him, because that's an amazing fucking thing to say.
And it's not like it wasn't a put down though either. It was just like he was pointing out a thing. He's like, they do that. I don't want to do one same thing. And it's gonna sound really stupid if it wasn't him in the interview that I was thinking of too. But
you know what? I'll agree with you.
If not, it still goes along with things evolving.
Yeah, and so I like it because I have I don't just listen to one type of music, so I like it. It's sometimes cinematic, sometimes really heavy, sometimes very danceable, sometimes synthwavy, sometimes post-punky. Like it's got a lot to offer, and that's just my initial impression of the album. So I'm happy. Like I listened to it, and I was not disappointed. I wasn't like, this sucks. I was like, oh, I really like this. I haven't been able to digest it, but it's pretty good. Did you check out El Camino?
Haven't seen that yet. No.
Oh, dang. Go ahead.
Going back to synthwave, I did get Dream Electric 2. It was waiting for me. I've been staying at my brother's house for the past week, and I just got home, and that was waiting for me.
Nice.
So Electric Dream Records, like compilation of artists, release, real hot.
Real hot. Who's on there?
Yes. Lots of people. And I cannot get enough. So it's 2 discs. Can't get enough of side D.
Ooh, give me that D.
So, yeah. So on side D, and on this album, there's a bunch of artists that I haven't heard of before. But side D, we've got Carbon Killer with a really hot jam. Baldocaster, I believe is what it is. A guy I haven't heard of before, but their track, his track, her track, their track, whatever it might be, It Lives was probably my favorite track on the entire album. And then after that, you have Quixotic's remix of Laserpunk's Black Lambo. And then I can't remember what the last one was on that side, but yeah, I was just playing it over and over again yesterday when I finally got a chance to get into it. So definitely really cool. And if I remember right, a lot of this stuff is only available on vinyl. There isn't a digital version of it, because I was looking for that Baldocaster track. It's not out there.
Sweet. And I'm really proud of you for being very humble.
Oh,
because you know the dude that runs that record company.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But I mean, Brian at Electric Dream Records, he knows what he's doing. He puts out great product, and whether I knew him or not, I would still say the same thing.
Yeah.
But kudos to him for, going through and picking out and putting this stuff together. I really like the first one, the first Dream Electric release, but this one feels a little bit stronger. And he was saying that, he thought the same thing too. And he feels like, track to track, the progression feels really good. And as a complete package, it's really great.
Is it sold out?
I don't think so.
So
I think you can still get it.
Okay. So
which I would recommend.
Okay. So that's a hot jam. What else? The Power Glove EP.
Got that shit on pre-order.
Now, is that going to come like 2020 of next year come out?
I think it said October 25th for the release day.
So they probably actually pre-made it and then we'll ship it out. It's not like a pre-order where you'd wait 3 months before.
Hopefully. And the shipping was cheap, so it's coming somewhere out of America, which is interesting. I don't know who's doing it, but...
And what is it called? It's a Halloween-themed horror movie deal, isn't it?
Well, kind of, but what it's titled isn't. I can't... Like, replay?
Something like that.
I think that...
It's like five songs.
Yeah, it's an EP. I think it's replay. I don't know. I forgot my phone, so I can't take it out.
It's
and
amazing
look at
that you forgot your phone. I cannot believe that.
I know. It's probably for the best, so I can't see what time it is. Baby's got to go to sleep.
And that's exciting because Playback is a great record.
Yeah, great album.
This coming out, I'm really excited for it. It's a glow-in-the-dark record, so hopefully it doesn't sound like garbage.
I really hope that they're just making it look like it's really green and it's not glow-in-the-dark, because I don't want glow-in-the-dark because it does sound terrible.
Yeah, that's a danger. So we'll see how that goes.
Speaking of which will bring us right into the next thing that we were going to talk about, Blood Music's rarity sale.
Yes. There is some hot shit.
So I definitely picked something up. I
spent too much money.
Well, yeah. I spent like $600 in vinyl the past week, so.
Holy shit. Well, I mean,
when you gotta get it, you gotta get it. But, so rarity sale, speaking of glow-in-the-dark, initially, when I first got Gost Behemoth, I got a black version, and when it first came out, that actually ended up being the rarest one because only 30 black copies were available for North America. So I got one of those. Yeah. And I didn't get it right away when it came out, too. Like, I got it shortly after from a reseller, and it was still, normal price back then. It hadn't gone up. So I was like, I'm getting this. Then an opportunity came up. I think it was another rarity sale, like the first one. And they had the glow-in-the-dark version. So I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to get glow-in-the-dark. And I didn't really know better back then. But when I got it and played it, I was like, oh, my God, this sounds like complete garbage.
Was this part of your journey of knowing better?
Yes.
And you told me a very sad thing about this, which is basically it sounds like he's going to be done and go out of business.
Blood Music is going to be pretty much done.
Which really kind of makes...
There's a few... I think there might be one or two more records being released. And then Virtuaverse is going to come out. And then the dude's working on his movie script. And he's going to go from there. It's like Chaser Dreams, though. Whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, we've gotten a lot of good stuff out of Blood Music.
Yeah, I picked up just a bunch of shit from this. I think I got a Gost record. I got Uncanny Valley, the 3 LP.
Nice.
The last rarity sale and something else. And then this one I picked up the Non-Paradisi 3 record.
Perfect, because the EP that comes with that is fucking fantastic.
And that's what that's what everyone tells me. It's better than the fucking record itself.
I mean, it's okay.
Those
I would probably say that. So I got another Behemoth record. I got the Red and Ice, what they called it, splatter.
I'm surprised that you did that
version. It was either that or just plain red. So I was just like, all right, I'll get this. I would have gone for plain black again.
I'll trade you. I got plain black.
But I mean, well, it was more expensive.
Oh well, and I paid regular price for mine. It was like $27 I found it for.
So yeah, I got that. There was a bunch of other stuff. Most of it I already had, but I just wanted to get that out of the way so I could have a playable copy.
I did the fucking nerd shit, and I got, the Perturbator pin, Gost patch. I got the mat, the LP mat.
Slip mat, yeah.
His slip mat. And I bought that hot Perturbator shirt, the black and white one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't usually like to get those, but it was black and white. And I was like, simple goodness. I like it. Anyways, there's still stuff, and it's the end of a thing, which is really kind of sad. But I mean, pursue your dreams. You be you. Go ahead. If he's gonna go fucking make video games and fucking write movies, go do it. It's probably gonna be cool as shit. Hopefully,
could be. Apparently, there was a showing of Blood Machines. So the one that Carpenter Brute's doing the soundtrack to.
Ooh. Okay.
Because everyone's been waiting on that forever, and there were like 2 Kickstarter campaigns. And
was that part of like his music video thing?
For the music video, the same person did Turbo Killer.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can't remember his name right now, but
was that supposed to be turned into a film itself, or
I think it evolved into what Blood Machines is now.
Okay, I'm still waiting for Laser Pope.
Yes, yes, fucking Laser Pope.
That goddamn thing keeps changing. Like when I check in, like it completely changes again. I think it's been going on since like 2012.
I'm not surprised.
So that's kind of fucking funny. How pumped are you about Nicholas Winding Refn doing another TV thing?
I just heard about it right when we were talking about this before the show. So this is new to me. Maniac Cop. That's an interesting thing to choose.
I thought it was, and it's from HBO. So I was like, did they watch any of his movies? Did they know who this person is? Did they see anything he's done? Because that seems really an interesting mix to me.
Which one? Who are you, the original Maniac Cop director, or?
Well, Nicholas Winding Refn.
Have they watched either of their movies? Is what I want to know.
Maniac Cop and Nicholas Winding Refn. Sure, let's do that. Like, do you know what either one of these properties are and what they do and what like? It makes sense to me that he would do it, but I can't believe HBO gave him money to do it. So I'm excited. I still haven't seen Too Old to Die Young yet. Unfortunately, I really want to.
You really need to up your binge watching game.
Oh, dude, I don't fucking have time. So goddamn busy now. And I'm playing Borderlands 3, so.
That's your mistake.
But it's fun. It's fun. I like it. I don't know about you, but I like Borderlands. And that's my review. It's good.
It's good. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. If you liked Borderlands, you will like Borderlands 3.
Boom. Giant stamp, seal of approval.
That's it. That's all you need to know. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They didn't do any other bullshit. They just simply did what works. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to do the Nick Vivid interview, and then we'll be right back.
It was miraculous.
I found out that bees are attracted to my van because the front of the grill looks like a predator bee. I'm not kidding. And they're always, like, not today, of course, but like in like the last 5 days when it's like at least 60 degrees out and sunny, every day there's always bees hanging around the van.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then
Is
I
this
read up on
recording
it.
right now?
It's recording
I
right
read
now.
up on it, and
Yeah.
it's a real thing. Bees are attracted to old vans because of the grills.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the
That's how we
pre-show interview with Nick Vivid and Unholy Racking and North Innsbruck.
What's up, guys?
What's
up?
We're all gonna have to share mics.
Did Kyle get real close to him here?
Yeah, we can talk like this.
Like Sonny and Cher?
You can't see us right now, but we're really close.
I was thinking of more like Ike and Tina Turner.
Oh, now we're talking.
That's a better duo. So welcome to Minneapolis on this lovely day.
First snow day of the year.
First snow day of the year, of course.
Yeah, I'm so grateful.
So what stop are we on this tour of
For
yours?
me, this will be show number 5? Show number 5, right? I've done, 4? Okay, let's see. I started in Buffalo. Then we did Youngstown, Ohio, at a great place called West Side Bowl. Then I was in Detroit.
D-Town, sweet.
And Chicago on Wednesday. And so this will be show number, what is that? That makes it 5, yeah.
Where'd you play in Detroit?
Donovan's Pub, which is a cool little room. And I played with, do you know Wadaboo? Like a cool, like electronic glitchy artist.
Actually.
Yeah, you definitely should check her out.
I want to know more.
Yeah, WATABOU.
Right on.
And really cool stuff. A lot of fun.
Spent a lot of time in Detroit, but I have not been where you played.
Yeah,
Kinda sad
it's
now.
a small little place, about the size of this room, a little smaller. No real stage, you have to sit up next to the TV. We were like Jeopardy. The bartender was watching Jeopardy, as we were setting it up. And but it was cool. Great vibe, great people. Yeah, it was a lot. I love Detroit. It's always great.
So what's been your favorite of the show so far?
Everyone's had their own interesting, because all the rooms are different,
Yeah.
and every vibe is different. Like played Wednesday at Emporium Arcade Bar in Chicago, and it was like got free tokens to play Arkanoid all night, so that was good.
Sweet.
So that was the perk.
Yeah.
Every gig had its perk. I got free pizza in Youngstown, and free pizza in bowling.
Usually you get free murder out there in Youngstown, so
Yeah,
word up to Youngstown.
that was good. It was good.
And how many more days do you have in your left tour?
21.
21. Wow.
Okay, so we're just at the start then.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm doing the full on U.S. tour.
Sweet.
So right after this, I go to Omaha, and then a couple days off, then Idaho Falls, then go up to Washington, Spokane. I'm going right around the big snowstorm that's coming in, right around the very edge of it. It turns out is where I'll be, and then wait on the West Coast, then through Texas, back up the East Coast, and back to New York at the end of November.
So it's like a full loop.
Full loop, yeah, 24, 25 shows, something like that.
Wow. And is this tour, as you were saying earlier, this is something you've always wanted to do. So, did you choose this particular path for a reason, or?
It's just kind of like, you mean the dates that I picked? And
Well, or at the places, your route.
Yeah, basically, there's just the cities that seemed like the coolest and the biggest, and it just seemed growing up. I'd always see my favorite bands going on tour, and these are always the cities that they played, and these are the routes that they went on. I was like, oh, they're going to Chicago after they're in Detroit, and they're going to so Minneapolis after Chicago. So it's like, I guess that's what you do. So that's how I figured
Thanks
it
for
out.
going straight here instead of Milwaukee or something. So,
Yeah. Well, it was that, or probably Milwaukee, because it was kind of like whichever clubs gets back to me,
Nice.
is kind of how I did it. It's like, oh, okay, this Hexagon Bar got back to me and said, yeah, we'd love to have you. So I'm like, great, let's do it. So I reached out, probably to 1,500 clubs or something
Holy
crazy
shit.
like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I went just blasted.
How long did that take to go through?
That's some
Well, that
serious
wasn't.
hustle.
Luckily, I paid somebody to start it off for me. I don't want to I don't know. Twee, do you think it's a bad idea to talk about Indie on the Move? Okay. She's my manager. I got to make sure I'm not overstepping my bounds here. No, Kyle over there is a really nice guy. I paid him to do the initial blast, but he didn't vet anywhere. So it was places like this were on the list, which is really cool. And then there was other places that were wineries and beer gardens, and it's my show.
Eclectic.
It was an eclectic, coffee houses. It's I'm not doing singer-songwriter stuff, so I felt like it was a little bit of a kind of, not a waste of money, but kind of I started hearing back from places that I just should not be playing.
Yeah.
Well, a place like that, it could be a breath of fresh air for some of their clientele instead of the singer-songwriter thing all the time.
Strumming a guitar.
Yeah, it's true, but it just didn't. Yeah, like a winery is just not going to work for me.
Yeah,
It'd be like
got-
playing at church.
You should, please.
it's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your music. You're in the electronic kind of thing. What's your drive, or what you classify yourself, and explain to folks that are listening, what's your,
Well,
if you will.
I guess we could start with that story I was about to tell North
Perfect.
Innsbruck earlier that you cut me off from. So we could save it for this. No. But I owned a recording. I was doing rock stuff for years. I was playing in rock bands in New York. And I owned a recording studio in New York for a couple of years. I was recording like punk bands and rock bands. And one day it got flooded. I lost a bunch of stuff, and I had to leave. And at the same time, I was going through a lot of things in my personal life. My brother was ill, and my parents were moving, and I was just really stressed out. And one day I was carrying a bunch of heavy gear that I probably shouldn't have been carrying at the time, and I just felt something go in my legs, and turned out I had strained my entire core.
Oh,
Like my
That's not
entire core, from like my chest muscles down to my kneecaps. Literally couldn't stand up without being in tons of pain. Like my body couldn't support its own weight. So I was stuck in bed for 3 months at the top of 2015.
jeez.
And I just stayed in bed and prayed I was going to get better. And then I slowly was feeling better and better. And then I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Because I don't have the recording studio anymore. I can't record loud drums. And I wanted to start writing music, and I had this little Casio keyboard, and I was coming up with these cool ideas and just doing just chords and synth sounds and stuff. And I was like, this is really kind of cool. And if I start over again, I don't have to put a band together if I want to do something like this. I can do this as a solo act, and I could perform it live because all these hip hop dudes are out there with backing tracks, and it's totally legit.
Yeah.
And you can totally get up and do that. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I could see if I could write something in this genre, and it would, as long as it felt like it was natural for me.
Right.
And then I ended up doing a whole record, and I ended up coming up with 150 ideas, and did my first record
Wow.
6 months later. Yeah, I tend to do that for each record. I'll try to keep going until I have at least 100 ideas, at least a verse or a chorus or a melody or something, but it was really flowing, and I'm also really into old computer music. My first computer was a Commodore 64. I'm big into the SID chip, and so I programmed SID tunes in the past and stuff like that. So I was like, well, this is actually probably broader for me, is in terms of my tastes than the rock stuff was, because that's a very specific kind of sound, guitar, bass, drums. That's it. You can't really expand from there. So this actually feels more open-ended towards, where I can take it. So I do a lot of 90s hip-hop beats with a lot of synthesizer stuff and disco and funk, and I kind of mix it together, and I'm still kind of figuring out where it's all going to go. But
Kyle, we were listening to your music the other day, and Kyle came up with kind of...
There's a little bit of electro funk kind of feel in
Would you
some
feel
of
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
comfortable with that kind of...
yeah, if that's what
description?
you want to call it, sure. I don't know what it is, but if you think that's what it is, then that's great.
Okay. It works.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wouldn't put yourself label it as some certain kind of sound. You're just doing what you want to do then.
Right. Yeah, I don't really know what it is, but that's... I like that about it, because now the next record I could do something else and I'd be okay with it then, because I'm not putting myself in a box,
So,
So-
are you kind of secluding yourself from kind of what else is going on in this world? Because that's a very common story where people played in bands.
Right.
And
Eric's pointing at every single one of us.
every
here.
single one. All of us have played in bands at one point or another. And North Innsbruck and Unholy Racking and yourself have gone basically solo, developing and making all this music. Do you pay attention to anything else? Or are you just really your influences and you're just doing your thing?
Yeah, my influences, and I'm doing my thing, I think, for the most part. Though I am checking out, obviously, I wouldn't have heard of any of you guys had I not, obviously, I think it's smart in some ways to try to align yourself with something that's going on, because I didn't want to be so, I think there's other people doing kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're classifying it as, whereas some bands are or some solo artists are doing
Right.
like more of the funky side of things, more of the disco side of things, you know. But the synthwave scene's been getting bigger and bigger, and I've like made friends with a lot of synth artists and chiptune artists and things like that. Like I had a chiptune artist, you know, on some of my shows and like my release party. Kurt Underscore from Brooklyn, who's a really cool chiptune artist, opened up that show, and I find like I just really get along with the same sensibility.
Yeah.
There's a lot of synthwave artists and stuff like that. So, and also like when putting shows together, it makes a lot of sense to do things with acts that don't have live drums, so that everything
Right.
kind of feels like it fits together for the night. You
Yeah.
know. So I try to steer clear of anything that has live drums in it that I'm aligning myself with. So that leads itself to electronic music and
Right.
hip hop and you know things
Gotcha.
of that nature. So that's kind of where I've been going with it and what I've been kind of, you know, seeking out to listen to and to check out.
Okay.
I like this train of thought. This
Yeah, it's a
this
really. I'm
direction.
really enthralled right now. Actually,
Okay, good.
I'm really digging this story. It's
Okay.
good.
Okay. Well, ask away. What else you got?
Well, I don't know. I didn't really come prepared with questions.
Do you
I
ever?
mean,
though?
I don't.
Here's
I
the
don't.
funny
That's
thing.
true.
This guy never comes prepared, really, for anything, and you always put your A game out.
I mean, it usually works itself out. Yeah. So
Well, I wasn't prepared for this interview, so you
Yeah,
know.
but you just be yourself, and you're
See,
perfect.
that's what I'm. No,
Yeah.
that's the point I'm trying to make. You
Yeah.
just be yourself.
Nice point.
Yeah.
So then you've had the opportunity with these last few shows of playing with a pretty divergent group of musicians. Then basically, you're kind of not really. Synthwave is sort of like the anchor point, maybe
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
in some way, but it's wherever. Because obviously, between the three of you playing tonight, that's a huge difference in scope. I mean, it's a very divergent, group.
yeah, we're hitting all sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah, literally.
Well, that's also what I like about it. Yeah, for sure. It's like, you know, when I listen to acts that I want to play, you know, gigs with in different cities, you know, I was like looking for things that I go, oh, this would pair up well, but it would also be eclectic enough to keep the night interesting,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't want to play with other acts that sound exactly like me, nor do I want to play with acts that sound too different where the audiences couldn't overlap in some way,
Sure.
you know.
So you actually have a fairly logical rationale for what you're doing and how you're putting
Ye-
things together. Then.
Right, I'm trying to look at it like a producer would look at putting a record together. You know, like everything needs to fit, but it doesn't need to all be the same.
Right.
You know, my eyes have been opened up to a little thing because I was like, if I'm playing a show, I would want, you know, similar artists playing with me. But then that could get boring.
Yeah.
Right, you know, if you're not giving some variety, you know, that's what makes a good show a good show. You know, if every band sounds exactly the same or every artist is doing exactly the same thing.
And I
Then-
suppose when you what's going on? We're recording in a bar right now, and there's very interesting things happening. But yeah, I suppose that it really gives you the ability. What I like about synthwave is that it reaches across a lot of genres and hits people where, like, if it's a rock thing or a funk thing or a metal thing or whatever it is, synthwave seems to bring together a lot of different groups of people together and kind of like surround it with under the umbrella synthwave,
Right.
basically. So it's cool that you've got these three and you're doing the same thing for your whole tour.
Well, I also like the fact that you guys, like, this is the only scene out of all of them, because Jules Fox?
Yep.
Who did who has
So
the-
he's with Night Ride. He's
Right.
He's one of the guys with that.
Right, so he has the Twitter list
Yeah.
where he has every synthwave artist from every state.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of my tour, you know, finding other bands through his lists.
Yeah.
And
Jules is a good guy.
what I found
Say
out
Jules,
interesting, though,
you
is
know.
the Minneapolis scene that you guys got going on here is the tightest knit one, because most of the other acts in the other cities don't know each other.
Yeah.
Or maybe I've heard of so-and-so, or, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you guys are, like, super tight out here, and I think that's super cool. And you got, like, this, like,
We worked
really
for
cool
it.
thing.
Yeah. So it's starting. I think as you are going to go with this tour, you're going to find that there's more people coming together, more cities coming together and doing the exact same thing we're doing. I think because we've modeled our particular thing after the Helsinki scene.
Okay.
North Innsbruck is tight with Millennium Falk and Levinsky and all those guys over in Finland. And so we've modeled basically what we're doing with what's going on over there. And I think I know Portland, I know LA, Denver, they're all starting to coalesce.
Yeah,
the scene.
Portland had those bands over there too. Yeah, that was an easy bill to put together, was the Portland one as well. That's true.
Yeah, there's always stuff
Or not
going
Portland,
on
I'm
up
sorry,
there.
Spokane. I'm thinking Spokane.
Spokane.
I'm not thinking Portland. My bad. Sorry. Too many shows on the tour.
Well, hey,
That's a problem you want to have.
yeah, it's a problem you want to have. It's a good thing. So thank you. That's a really cool thing. We try, and it's growing. That's the crazy thing, is the scene seems to be, I think, growing at a more rapid pace as far as local producers, and that's what makes it exciting.
Is it my? Tell me if my interpretation is wrong of things, but it seems like the show Stranger Things has really made this all happen in a lot of ways in terms of broadening its appeal. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep.
Definitely, because that was bringing the sound, to people, the mainstream. A lot of people watched the show. And for some, that was their first experience with the sound, and
it just always seemed like when that show came out, all of a sudden it's like synthwave, and it was like little trickles of it, but then like
and
now we're at season 3 and it's like way bigger,
Yeah, and you've got of course the '80s influences. I mean, the '80s thing is really a driving factor in all of it, whether it's from one end to the other as far as music goes.
right.
It's an influencer.
And then the other thing I think would be Drive, the movie Drive, the soundtrack for that.
Oh yeah.
Also kicked off, was probably like maybe the first wave of people that got onto the scene, even though like people argue that the Drive soundtrack is really more French touch than it is necessarily.
I don't know. It's like that was the spark, and Stranger Things is like a catalyst that's keeping it going, or something
absolutely.
like that.
And then Unholy Rat King emailed a video. There's a workout. What is that for, a piece of equipment?
Yeah, it looks like some sort of like weird Bowflex looking machine. It's got just super beefy arps in the background, and like purple neon lighting behind it.
Yeah, so in advertising now, there's a commercial where it looks like a commercial for Stranger Things, but people are working out instead.
Taco Bell commercial. Have you seen the Taco Bell commercials with the 80s street gangs? All right, look up the Taco Bell.
So it's like bad?
Yeah, it's
like
basically like
bad.
that, and it's like, which one is your gang? And there's like 3 different like street gangs getting different types of Taco Bell.
It's really going to take like some synthwave artists, and it's probably going to be the one you guys all respect the least. Is going to cross over to get a major record deal, and you'll be like, that dude just got into this stuff last week, and they're gonna carry the flag, and that's how it's gonna all get.
So right.
That's funny. That's a real talk right there. That's 100% real.
It's truth right there. I was having that thought not that long ago, where it's like it's gonna be some 14-year-old kid who watched season 4 or whatever it is of Stranger Things and then gets signed to some major record label, because there's and
they've got a YouTube video with 4 million views, and
absolutely,
then that's it.
Yeah.
That's just 14-year-old kids have nothing but time on their hands.
Yeah, get a job.
But
then make music. Then we'll see where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree. I had that exact same thought. It's like it's going to be someone that's not connected to the underground, because that's how it is, isn't it?
Always.
Be it punk or rock or whatever it is, hip hop. It's not the underground people that fostered the scene. It's some outsider who's peripherally involved
and just
blows it up.
Ends up realizing there's something. I mean, because as I said, I'm aligning myself with it in some ways in order to help the tour along and to build relationships and align myself with a scene that feels like it's happening, even though I feel a bit of an outsider to it, and I don't think I'd ever make a straight up full on synthwave record. I don't think it's something that I should do, but I feel like there's, but right. But what I'm saying is there's, definitely like somebody's going to be like 3rd, 4th generation of this whole thing is going to see it all happen and be like, oh, I'll just steal this idea, get myself a cute haircut and a cute name, and the record deal, and there you go.
Well, it's like everyone got pissed off at Muse because Muse is like huge, and they started gravitating towards all like the 80s aesthetic, and I'm just like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm never going to be on the same level. Like, Muse is not my competition.
No, for sure.
if maybe it brought other people to my music, but it's like I don't compete with Muse. Like, let them do whatever the fuck they want. It's like they're not stealing shit because a lot of people are using the same fucking neon suns and everything. It's like that's what the scene is. Like that's what a lot of people are doing. You find the aesthetic for a reason, and a lot of people stick with it. So if you're pissed off that Muse wants to steal the 80s aesthetic, like, reevaluate your life.
Thanks for that Muse rant.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I now know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Now not only Radiohead fans are mad at them.
Exactly.
We can go off on a whole nother thing about that too.
Hey, listen, the early Muse records, I'm okay with. I will admit.
I like Muse.
Yeah, I bet it's weird when didn't they do like a sort of like a dubstep sort of weird record too?
What?
Yeah. It seems like whatever is like the niche thing, they're like, okay, now we're gonna do this.
When they were on the Twilight soundtrack.
You know what? They're
How
making
do you
lots
know
of money.
this?
Good for them.
That's my question.
Twilight movie. Saw all the Twilight movies.
Holy Rat King, that's why.
Why Muse was on the Twilight soundtrack? Because I watched Twilight.
Okay.
Jealous?
I just
I think he's gonna kick your ass here.
just wanted to establish that. That's okay. That's,
Just for the record, they're on opposite sides of the table. Everybody stay calm.
that would be a lot of work for you to come after me right now.
And you wouldn't.
hot in here with me wearing pants.
It's oh, all right. Too hot for pants. I am getting kind of hot here. I mean, speaking of getting back on track here, speaking of the 80s influence, is the 80s influence you at all?
Oh, sure. Duran Duran, huge 80s influence for me. When I was little, I had MTV like the week it came out. So I got into so many bands that were like...
So are you saying that you're our age then?
Yeah. Well,
Remember when they played videos and it was great?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duran Duran for sure. When I was a little kid, they were awesome.
I remember Hungry Like the Wolf
Mhm.
playing on MTV. That was like my jam.
Yeah,
as a
Planet
little kid.
Earth, Hungry Like the Wolf, Girls on Film,
Yes.
The Reflex. Those are
Oh,
all
great
great
song.
tunes. New Moon on Monday. Yeah, fantastic. I'm blanking out, but there's certainly other
That
80s
album,
bands.
was it like the Something Tiger and the Ragged Sea or something like
Yeah,
that?
Seven and the Ragged Tiger.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great album. And I might get hate for that, but it's a great album.
No one would hate on somebody liking Duran Duran. That's
Are you sure? Because I get plenty of hate for liking that album. Anyways, I have it on vinyl. I love it so much. I got an original pressing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good record. That and yeah, again, the Commodore 64 sound influence, like music artists like Rob Hubbard and guys like that who were doing like the first chiptunes I'd ever heard. But it was like at a time when like chiptunes, I think that would be like the first example of people actually like playing a video game and listening to the music before the game played, and just like, I'm just gonna sit and listen to this for a while because it's really good. Like that was an unintended consequence of creating that kind of music, was that people actually just enjoyed listening to the music for its own merit.
The Battletoads pause music is like one of the most classic sounds to me. Like I literally took and tried to emulate that on my pocket operator. So like in the middle of an interlude, it's just like book, book, book.
Oh, I remember that music now
Yep.
that you do it. That really sticks with you. But I think you bring up a good point though, Nick, too, about the video games and some of this kind of stuff. I mean, we hear this, these repeated rhythms or whatever, just melodies over and over again. And one way or another, they're going to worm their way into our head, and it's going to have an effect on an entire generation. Totally it too.
Yeah, it
So-
totally did. So yeah, that would be like, that happening was just like that opened up doors for all the things that we're all doing right now. But nobody expected computer music to be something somebody would actually like want a record of, but certainly they did.
Absolutely.
Or soundtracks for that matter.
Well, that's it too.
Film composers. How many? I know there's a big group of us here that follow film composers just as much as like actual regular artists. So
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, could you have thought even like, let's say early, even mid 80s, that people would actually collect John Carpenter's work the way that they do? I think that's a great example. I mean, there's just stacks and stack of the dude's vinyl, and people just pick it up like crazy because there's a niche. There's something special for that now. There's sounds that people appreciate and remember.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
right on.
And I feel like you were privileged with the Commodore 64 because a lot of people in America didn't really do that. It was more prevalent over in Europe.
For the hacking and the music side of it, for sure. Yeah, but like it was big over here, but like Nintendo killed it. You know, when Nintendo came out, that was the end of the Commodore. But it's still the world's best-selling computer of all time. So it will always have that distinction. And there's a Commodore 64 Mini, I think. And
I heard about that.
Yeah, coming out in December. So anybody who wants to have the experience can, which I think it's just a Raspberry Pi inside of a Commodore case. But
Yeah, I think that's most of them now. Raspberry Pi inside of a replica
Some
miniature.
variation of it.
Yeah.
One form or another for all the mini
running
systems.
an emulator.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or what's the FPGA chip?
Yep, they made a version of that on the Commodore. There's some guys in Europe who have made a FPGA Commodore 64 motherboard that's you can get that, and then it's like having a whole new computer, so like you can enjoy it for another 40 years, you know.
Bless you, Europe, for your C64 love. Keep it going.
So you're talking about how early you owned a recording studio. So does that mean you're more of like, you consider yourself an engineer or a producer?
I
What's
love getting sound. So I think my main thing is just being a songwriter, because I wrote songs before I was able to play an instrument, and I like pop structure, verse chorus, solo, chorus out, you know.
Right.
I like that structure, and I like playing within the confines of that structure. And then after songwriter, I would say I'm probably producer, engineer, because I love getting sounds, and I love I'm like kind of a tone chaser. Got like this sound in my head. I've mentioned it before in other interviews. I call it the blue sound. I don't really know how to describe it. I'm one of those people who sees colors when they hear music, you know. So like I either hear like blue and magenta are like the two colors that I get kind of like go for when I'm making music. So like, and it's kind of like this kind of woody, boxy kind of sound where like around 2.5K you get a little like brassiness in the mix, and you get like a little bump there.
Sure.
And for some reason, certain records, even if like I could hear the same record, and as long as the EQs are set a certain way, it's got that sound. So or compressed a certain way. So I didn't get it. So I got a little bit on the last record on a couple songs. Like I Get Free really has it. Prismer has it a little bit. Ricochet has it a little bit. But next record, I'm probably gonna take my time and make sure the whole album is blue sounded out, beginning to end.
It's interesting to hear you kind of bring up the whole concept of the colors and stuff that come into it as well. And I might be taking, I think I know where you're coming from with that.
Synesthesia is what he's saying.
Synesthesia.
Yes,
you
yes.
are straight up. Okay, good. Because
I don't have a ton of it, but I have it with that.
Experience though, like down in the studio, and it's so cool to hear you actually bring that up. Because for me, a lot of times too, what I end up seeing is we get in, like, I swear to God, it's like the wallpaper of my parents' kitchen as a kid, and no joke, it's like these beiges and kind of, you know, almost like harvest golds, because those were like, that was the early 80s, the colors that I remember from that era, you know.
Right.
But even that, like, I think about like phone numbers and stuff as well at times for me will represent certain colors within the spectrum. Like we have some area codes here, no joke, like 651 for me is like a reddish orange, and 763 is this turquoise color.
Oh, that's even
Like,
more than me. Yeah, that's crazy.
you know, but
That's
you
really
get me
cool.
excited
Wow.
because not many other people talk about that experience. So,
I don't have it too often, but with certain sounds I will
Yep.
get it.
Totally
Not with
it.
a lot of sounds. Like I guess with music that like doesn't, you know, really hit me as far as like, you know, there's a lot of records I like, but nothing that I would want to make. You know, but when I hear something I really like, oh, I want to get that sound. I want to figure out how they made that sound. You know, that's when I see the colors. You know, but it's only like a blue and magenta sometimes. But it's weird too. It'll have sometimes something to do with because I like to modify my gear, and I once had these turntable preamps that I built, and I changed the chip in my audio, my op amp in my capture, my M Audio Profiler. I changed it to a different kind of chip. I was like, ooh, that's more of a magenta now. You know, and it's just like, it's just like you just play the whole. There's one chip, you know, feeding your music in through a stereo channel, and it's like the chip made it feel like a different color. Oh, that's like a magenta vibe now.
So you're talking about the blues and magentas. One thing I noticed going on in front of us right now is actually your buttons themselves pull the blues and magentas into them. Was that intentional? Was that an accident?
That was totally an accident.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. But that's funny that you say that because you're right.
Is anything really an accident?
You're right. No, I don't think there are any accidents in God's world.
Right.
This is like this whole album cover. Was just kind of like me playing around on Photoshop until I think I had a whole different concept in mind, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, I remember what it was. Because the album title is Blissed Out, and we were taking this photo of myself. And then I put it under water, and I froze it. And so I get the frosty, and then I was going to put lights over top of it, have the lights reflect off the ice that was on top of my picture. But it didn't really have that much of an interesting effect. It didn't look like I thought.
The process was more interesting than the
right. So I took that actual iced over picture, and then I put it through some Photoshop filters, and the filters actually grabbed the ice effect much better. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting to have that kind of vibe going on, but then when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's absolutely perfect.
So you're drawn to blues and magentas then? That's a.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, magentas and blue. Like North Innsbruck said, there's this one. He has the colors on his cabinets, and there's like one jacket I used to own that's like a magenta jacket, and I picture that jacket.
Okay. That's awesome.
When I see the magenta color, I was like, oh, it looks like that jacket.
See, this is really enlightening for me because I remember an interview that we're gonna go off to the side here that Kanye West did, and he was talking about looking at a painting or a picture and be like, I see this and I see sounds, and if I looked at this is the sound it is. And hearing the three of you guys talk about that now, I can't deny that now. I thought he was just like the king of bullshit at that point.
He might be, because that may have been somebody else's experience, and he was just
telling
it. Yeah, I think
he
so.
Stole that experience.
I think so.
But whoever he might have stole it from, then they weren't talking about bullshit then. Now, like, I recognize that this is an actual thing. I've never experienced this before.
There's an artist
anything.
who has synesthesia, and she paints pop songs. So like it'll Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson, and she'll actually paint those sounds or the songs, and you could buy them, and like, because she sees sound, and she puts them on a painting, and then you could buy them.
This is mind blowing. Now, is what it is. That's.
I mean, if you want to experience it, just take LSD, because it's the same thing. That's what it does.
Okay.
LSD is a little more fun, but maybe not actually. Kicking out a sweet song and having that happen is probably one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
So that's what I strive for every time I'm in the studio, for that matter. So, God, that's it.
All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I'm sure I'd think of something later, but I don't know right now.
Thank you for sitting down with us.
No, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about
this has been
whole vibe.
Yeah, this has been an extremely engaging interview. So thank you
very much for sitting down with us. Thanks for Unholy Racking in North Innsbruck for sitting in. Woo! We're going to be recording at some point in time. This will be broadcast, so you can catch it on Nitrowave FM archives. Thanks, Nick, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we're back.
Yeah.
All right, so what else are you paying attention to? That analog handheld is blowing up the fucking internet right now.
Yes.
Like, that shit is going, like, on major publications where nerd boners are exploding all over the place.
So, I like cool technology, so this is totally something right up my alley, too. And its timing, well, I mean, it hasn't come out yet. It was just announced. They aren't even doing pre-orders for it yet, but, a backlit screen came out that you can put into a Neo Geo Pocket Color. So I was like, oh, finally a backlit screen, because there were front light mods that you could get for it, but they were really fucking awful. So I was like, okay, cool, backlit screen, but the screen actual physical size is a little bit smaller than the normal screen in it, so put it in, screen smaller. Well, with this thing, Analog's new handheld console coming out, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because it has a crazy screen on it, and it can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Atari Lynx games.
Is that fucking crazy?
And they say, like, and more, and it's like, and more with, what else is it going to be? Wonder Swan? WonderSwan Color. Who knows?
Tamagotchi.
Game.com. That would be hot as shit if it played like awful games, but if it could do that, that would be crazy. So I could play all these things with all the Nintendo ones. It'll play right away. Just jamming. You need a cartridge adapter, just a physical adapter for the Neo Geo Pocket Color and Lynx games. But the screen on this thing is insane. It's like 1,440 by 1,200 pixels, I think, if I can remember off the top of my head.
Is it an OLED masterpiece? What the fuck?
I don't know what it is, but it's something like 600 and some pixels per inch. Like the pixel density in it.
Do
is
you
crazy.
need that much to play old retro games?
But that's the crazy thing. It's like none of these things use a resolution that are anywhere near that. But maybe it'll help in upscaling things to the new screen.
It seems like this handheld is a workhorse for everything. What if analog goes into creating consoles for themselves eventually, and you'd use that handheld to play like 30, like, you know how like there's Steam and all, you know what I mean, like independent studios could publish their shit on analog's platform.
Well, here's the thing. The handheld console that they're making now has, I don't remember if it's 2 FPGA chips in it or like one with 2 cores, but it's set up so indie developers can make shit for it.
That's what I'm saying.
So it does that. And I almost forgot, on top of that, it comes with a docking station like the Switch.
Space docking?
You can plug it into the dock and then play the shit on a TV.
So
it's like going from the Game Boy Advance player on the Nintendo GameCube, but having it be much better.
how excited are you about this particular release?
Oh, I'm definitely going to buy it, because now going back, I don't have to worry about modding my Neo Geo Pocket with a different screen. Now
Yeah.
I'm getting a larger screen, better, really dense pixel count, and the refresh rate on it might be better, might be worse. I don't know. No one knows till we look at it, but could be just an overall better experience.
And it's a sexy piece of equipment.
The only thing that I wish it had, and other people have said this too, is the Neo Geo Pocket has by far the best directional pad. You couldn't even say it's a pad because it's almost like a stick. It's a really clicky stick. I wish that it had that on it, because even on regular consoles, that directional pad on that system is like the best there is. So I wish they had done something like that.
But you can't have everything, though.
I guess not. So I'm excited. It's $200. So I think that's
very reasonable.
That's cheap, in my opinion, for what you're getting. And
You're getting like 5 consoles in one.
5 handheld consoles with a nice big screen and a dock.
See, because I was poor, I was never able to get into like the handheld anything.
Ooh, I wonder if other would be Game Gear too. I wonder if Game Gear is going to be on there. They didn't. I don't think they mentioned that in it.
I from what I read, it felt like everything ever was going to be on it, and that's pretty exciting. And the fact that if you're able to plug it into a dock and play it on your screen,
N-Gage games. Does anybody remember the N-Gage?
What?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty polarizing. Some people are like, what is this hipster trash? And they're saying like, they're in their claims, they're saying like, this isn't emulation. I mean, it is hardware emulation, basically, when it comes down to it. You're playing the original software, but it's hardware emulation. But I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the universal consensus is like, okay, you sit down there, let people enjoy their shit. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, and I can't really, we all have our preferences for particular things. And like, how things have to be, but
I remember somebody came in and said, like, what is this, like, Apple-styled, like, too cool for everyone else, new hipster-ass thing? Like, what is
it hipster?
They're
I
like-
just think it's a sleek sexual device. Like, I look at it, I'm like...
It is. And it's like, who is this made for? And I came in, I was like, this is made for me right here. This is exactly what I want.
And that's probably true. I think analog overall is probably... They're doing the nostalgia market correct. They're taking... You plug in the original shit, you play it, it's a good experience. Because you like... How do you like your Sega Genesis and your Super...
The Super NT and the Mega SG are both really great.
And you like them. You enjoy them a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is to the point where I'm probably, unless I'm going to do like a comparison one day, just side by side, to really see what I like better. And I did a little bit of that with the Super NT. I don't think I'll take out my original consoles again. It's just way more convenient to use these. They're a lot smaller. They're powered off of USB. So it's like I can run a USB cable from my TV to the system, run an HDMI cable from the system to the TV, and boom, that's it. I'm done.
And the controllers are nice.
And
Like,
the
they're not-
controllers are, wireless. They're 8-bit brand controllers. It's great.
So you're saying analog does a fucking stellar job is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, things with them started out kind of rocky with people, in the scene with their NES/Famicom system. Because with that one, they were actually sacrificing systems to take chips out of them to use in them.
Oh,
And
shit.
One of the guys that worked for them didn't get a lot of fans because of the stuff he said on some video game forums, but I mean, I don't fucking care. If you're going to make a system that does everything that I want in a sleek package that makes things easier and modernizes stuff, please give that to me.
Directly into my brain.
Yeah, and white is available, and I've been getting all their completely white systems, so it's just another one to match along with it and keep going.
I think it's interesting your preference for white. It's your thing. It's very you.
Well, it matches
White.
my arcade cabinets too, because they're all white.
I know it's. I can see you going either way, being strongly for like all black or being very strongly for all white. It's just interesting that like when it comes down to it, you're like, give me that fucking white stuff. different white
Yeah.
stuff, not other white stuff. Yeah. Now, did that start because of your cabinets, or did?
Well, I guess with their stuff, it started because the limited edition, the Ghostly International Super NT, was all white.
Yeah, but okay.
And one of my friends got it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks fucking great." Before I saw that, it's like it didn't even register on my radar. Like I had known other people who had them. I saw them just like sitting there on their shelves, and I was like, not interested. And then I see this Ghostly International one, and I'm like,
You're
okay,
like,
I have to buy that right now.
So, did that then influence like your other decisions? Because you also own speakers that are white.
Yeah, but with them, I would have liked to have gotten a different color, but like they didn't keep the colors the same for the LS50 wireless as they did the normal LS50 ones. Like if I could have gotten the black speakers with the copper colored drivers in it, like the unpowered ones,
The juicers.
I would have got those.
Okay.
But they were black with a blue colored driver, and that looks kind of weird. Like
They've
black
got a
and-
whole bunch of them though. I was looking.
Yeah. And then there's like titanium with a like burgundy colored driver, and then white with the copper colored driver. And it just so happened that a local guy had the white ones for sale, and I was able to lowball them.
Yeah, because them shits you got a fucking deal.
Yeah, I got them for $1,000 off.
That's pretty impressive. Because like, it's interesting how like, and I wonder if like how many people could relate to this. Like, and I'll put posts out there for people that are listening. Like, you collect a bunch of shit, right? You need the stereo, you need the amplifiers, you need all the extra bit of shit. You start filling your room, your space full of this equipment. And then one day you're like, there's just too much shit. Mm-hmm. And you did it first. Like, you started simplifying your setup, getting rid of amps, getting rid of all this extra shit. And like, I'm in very much the same place where I'm like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want what I don't need and what I don't use. So I want to get rid of all the shit that I did. And me, like, I have more of an excuse than you do. I'm fucking deaf as shit. So like, a 5.1 surround sound does nothing for me. Like, I can't hear any of the effects that Dolby Digital or any of that stuff. I can't hear any of it. So I don't need it. So I'm like, you know what? 2 really good stereo speakers in front. That's all I need.
And that's the thing. When you get away from like home theater receivers, surround sound receivers, like, they don't sound good. Mm-mm. They don't.
No.
It's like, it'll throw out sound all around you. It'll do that, but it won't be good. Like, it was life-changing when I got a real, preamp and amplifier and went 2-channel. It was like, holy shit, how could this be so much better?
So we've had this discussion before where it's like, the reason why like amplifiers are shit now and people like covet like amplifiers from the 70s is because there's no proprietary built-in bullshit. There's no Dolby. Yeah. There's none of that shit where it's affecting any of the sound, and you have more control over.
Home theater receivers, they cram so many different things in there, and they have to pay for licensing for all that shit. And it's just like, it's gonna be cheap, even if it's $1,000 one. Like, it's not going to be great because they're paying to have all the different Dolby Digitals and DTS and all the weird Bluetooth connectivity and all the shit to hook up your iPhone to it even and play music and USB and all that other shit.
And it really sounds like shit. And as a deaf boy, I can tell the difference. So if for someone being like myself, like, yeah, I don't want any of that shit. I don't want any of the proprietary nonsense. I just want it to work and function. And that's like, like, I was a brand boy. I had my particular things that I liked. And now I'm just like, get rid of it. Get it out of here. Get it off my shelf. I want 2 KEF wireless speakers.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like a brand you haven't heard of before, it's probably really fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, pawn shops and shit like get that old stuff. But I guess that's a particular thing for ease, and for most people, that shit's gonna work. But like, you think about it, when you buy an expensive receiver or home entertainment system or Bose or whatever, and it works with all this bullshit, like, the hardware itself is probably cheap. You're paying for the licensing fees for them to predetermine how it should sound, basically. Yeah. And it doesn't sound very good. And again,
it's like, I do miss playing video games, like modern ones, and having the surround sound, because playing, if someone's coming behind you, you can hear it. But
yeah,
the transition to this 2-channel for me has been overall perfect. And I'm in a small-ish apartment. I don't need 6 fucking speakers sitting all around me.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You go to a theater, it's almost too much now as it is. You know what I mean? You go in, you're fucking blasted out of your seat by too much sound, noise, and like, I don't know, I find it distracting. Like, especially you go see a Marvel movie, and I don't want to be like brown noted out of the experience.
Yeah, they're fucking jizzing right in your ear. That shit, just blowing it right in.
So, like, I don't give a shit about the Dolby experience, the vibrating seats. I don't want any of that shit. I don't really understand.
You know what feature I want at movies? Subtitles.
Dude, seriously. It's all I want. Give me fucking subtitles. It could be quiet for all I give a shit. I don't need any of the other stuff. I mean, nice big screens are fine, but anyways,
But like, yeah, I don't have a problem hearing, but I like to have subtitle, closed caption, whatever going on for whatever I'm watching, just because.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because like if it's fast paced or people are mumbling, you miss so much shit. I don't care how good your hearing is, you just miss shit. So subtitles and everything. I annoy the fuck out of people. Actually, I don't really give a shit. But like I subtitle everything. Like if I'm watching a movie or I'm on Netflix or whatever it is, subtitles.
Yeah, it's always on at my place.
Yeah. So one last thing before we wrap up for the evening, so you can go do your stuff and I can do my stuff. Outer Worlds. Heard it? Do you know what it is?
I don't know.
Wow.
Is it like Outer Limits?
Almost as cool. So Outer Worlds was kind of announced to great excitement during E3 this year, and it's from Obsidian Entertainment, the people that made Fallout New Vegas. So people got fucking boners about it, because basically there's sort of this thing with like most people consider Fallout New Vegas to be like the best Fallout game. It's a very particular tone, very particular thing. And Obsidian just kind of like went nowhere after that. You didn't really see what they did. And then they announced this last summer that they have basically a space game that's like Fallout New Vegas in space, but on like current consoles. And then I completely forgot about it. I'm like, oh yes.
I'll forget about it after this show.
Yeah,
it sounds like something I'm not interested in.
You're not really interested. Well, fair. Anyways, it's being released next week. Like they announced a week ago, pre-order sale, here it is, come get it. And like everyone forgot about it, but like everyone's super excited about it at the same time. So like for those that liked Fallout New Vegas and Obsidian, and also this will probably be the last Obsidian game you can get on PlayStation because they were bought by Microsoft. So this will probably be the last multi-console release that they do. So get it while you can. I got it. I mean, I had to, because I love everything what this seems like is going to be amazing. But anyways, we've taken up enough time. Thank you for listening this episode. We've got a lot of, you know what? We've got a lot of exciting shit happening.
We have a lot of episodes coming up. And
like some legit impressive guests coming on. So stay tuned for that. They're going to be
Is it people in the synthwave scene going to be on our show?
Synthwave people, go figure. So please stay tuned for that. If all goes well, I'll just say Cat Temper is going to be on the show. It's a few little hiccups that we got to work through, but that's really exciting because fuck yeah. And then some other fucking people coming on that are also really fucking sweet. So we're booking shows out, folks. Stay tuned.
November 9th.
Yes.
Night Audit. Do you know it of?
Yes.
North Innsbruck.
Nitrowave Twin Cities. We're going to be putting that show on Night Ride. I will not be broadcasting live anymore. So I apologize to folks. And also respect. Anyone that can fucking live broadcast and do a show and like it be perfect.
No hiccups.
Holy shit. It is so hard to broadcast live, record, and do all that shit. Like, it's amazing.
I mean, they'll still be there, just not live.
Right. So we will be broadcasting, obviously, all of the stuff on Night Ride later on, but in a more polished form than a fucking live broadcast, because that's tough. So we've got November 9th. We've got, you said it is Night Audit, Denotive in North Innsbruck.
Yep.
We've got...
at the Amsterdam in St.
the
Paul,
Amsterdam,
if you're going to be
Paul,
here.
Yep. So that will be coming to Night Ride, so check that out there. You can't find any of those broadcasts anywhere else. So if you want to see Minneapolis synthwave scene, Night Ride FM is the place to check it out. Again, Cat Temper is going to be on the show, and I don't want to because like I feel like if I say the names out loud, I'll just curse it. so I won't say who else is coming on. Night Audit himself, though, will be coming on at some point. That's booked, ready to rock. A lot of stuff coming up. We're very excited about the winter and then 2020. Like, shit, it's rolling, folks. So thank you again for listening. This is Eric.
Shit, this is Kyle.
All right. Later. Bye.